This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See Fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, it is common sense versus crazy. And maybe I shouldn't even say common sense versus crazy. It's common sense versus downright crazy. I mean, this new breed of Democratic Socialists, first of all, they are clearly gobbling up the entire Democratic Party because the establishment Democrats are scared of their own shadow. They're afraid to say anything. They have this canned line saying, oh, we're a big tent. Right. There's only 1 or 2 that are speaking out, including, believe it or not, James Carville, who's coming out. But those who are currently elected politicians, like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, they're like, I gotta go. When people are asking them about these crazy Democratic Socialists that they know are downright wacky and downright dangerous, but they don't want to say anything because they're too scared. They need their money, they want their constituents, and they're afraid to be primaried. There's a lot of reasons why they are scared of their own shadow, and especially after the victories that we saw this week in New York and some of the other ones that are butting up like cancers across the country, they have a lot of reason to be concerned. I mean, this new breed of Democrats, guys, it's no police, it's no prisons, it's no borders. It's let's deport no one. And in fact, if you're a murderer, keep staying in the country. We have no problem with you. We'd love to have you over for dinner. This is a very dangerous breed of Democrat. This is not anybody's grandmother's Democratic Party. This is a bunch of loony kazoonies. So the question tonight is, where is this headed? And what does it mean for the midterm elections? Because there is a lot at stake. A lot of people are saying this is a gift to the GOP. I agree with this because if they're smart on the GOP side, and they got to start acting like a take no prisoners approach, because the Democrats definitely act like that. But Republicans need to put on their big boy pants and start acting like fighters and not just assuming that the American public understands all of this. They need to highlight it. They need to put out ads saying this is what they would like to see. Show images of people roaming like a football field through the border. You want to see that again? That's what they want. No police? What would that look like? No prisons? What would that look like? Highlight it. You cannot just take it for granted, but run that ad all day long. So common sense Democrats say this is not America. This is not safe. This is not sane. Everybody, welcome to the Rita Cosby Show tonight. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Meantime, you got to hear this. This is Claire Valdez. She is one of the Democratic Socialists who won this week in one of the New York districts. And listen to what she says. This was not that long ago. Listen where she says we should get rid of TSA, so there should be no TSA pre-check. I think she thinks everybody, whoever you are, just come on the plane and not worry. And, you know, whatever you want to do, just come on. It's not fair to have somebody separated and searched. I guess that's a violation of your rights. I mean, this is nuts, but here it is.
My hot take is we need to abolish pre-check. I've got like a million beefs with the airline industry and the process of having to fly. We need to like nationalize the airline industry. But let's start by abolishing.
Yeah, let's stop by abolishing security. Actually, it fits with somebody who doesn't want prisons, doesn't want police, doesn't want ICE. And then there's Daria-Liza Chevalier, because she was on Local Pix 11, and she was there, and she just stood by her position about it's all Israel's fault. Hamas, oh, those people are so nice and so sweet what they did on October 8th, and it's all Israel's fault. And listen to the code word genocide over and over again.
Ms. Chevalier, do you support the United States continuing to send weapons and military funding to Israel?
No. And I really believe that we need to stop sending our tax dollars to arm a state that is currently enacting a genocide, a word that my opponent has yet to say. It is deeply important that we recognize that it is the taxpayer money of the American people that is contributing to this continued atrocities. And if we want to talk about accountability to be able to actually create peace, there cannot be peace while American taxpayer dollar is continuing to be used to slaughter civilians. It is abhorrent to me that we continue to invest so much of our money in weapons, in bombs that are slaughtering communities abroad when so many of our people here are suffering from lack of dignified housing, from lack of access to quality food, from lack of access to the social safety nets that make life dignified for so many.
And so you just referenced the question, do you believe Israel has committed genocide on the Palestinian people since the October 7th attacks? You're a yes.
Yes.
Do you believe that it was genocide?
It's a horrific situation in Gaza, unimaginable. Men, women, and children have been killed, innocent people, and whoever perpetrated that action should be held to the highest standard of accountability. It's horrific. And there are international entities that, like the United Nations and the International Court, that have established what it is.
The United Nations has called it a genocide.
So the other one clearly wouldn't say genocide. She was like, oh yeah, I think it's a genocide. No money for Israel. And this is a trend across the United States. Also, big news today, everybody, from the Supreme Court. 2 big wins for the Trump administration, both 6-3 decisions, where in one case, this was essentially allowing the Trump administration to turn away those seeking asylum at the border. They do not have to let them arrive into the country. That's a biggie, because if you talk to a lot of people tied to Customs and Border Protection, and I certainly have talked to so many through the years, they believe, I think it's like 90% of those who claim asylum are fake claiming asylum, that they do not qualify, that I came here, I'm coming here from here, so-and-so, and it's not really a justified claim. And then half of them, even after they get through, still do not show up for court. So that's not a good track record. And now the Supreme Court said to the Trump administration, you are allowed to turn them away. That's a big plus for President Trump's border policy. Then the other big decision that came from the Supreme Court, it is lifting temporary protective status. And that is for hundreds of thousands of Syrians and Haitians that are in this country that were given temporary status. Hey, you can come because of the circumstances in your country. It is temporary. And then when the situation is better, you can go back. Well, Tom Homan says it's temporary. Temporary means temporary. And a lot of people believe the only reason that Democrats are upset by this one, they wanted to keep all those people in the country. Because guess what? Joe Biden increased temporary protective status to like 20 countries, more than 1 million people. That was a total abuse. Total abuse. But typical Joe Biden open borders policy. Oh, let's have them stay here. It doesn't matter if they're not vetted. Doesn't matter. Just have them come. No big deal. And temporary suddenly was years upon years later. And so the judge said today, nope. You know what? They can be removed if the Secretary of Homeland Security says they're a threat or that they do not qualify anymore, that things are good in their country, send them back. And so that caused a huge uproar within the justices on the left that are there on the high court. But here is Jonathan Turley, great constitutional expert, for his take of what this means, these big decisions by the highest court in the land.
This was a bonanza of a day for the Trump administration, particularly on immigration. The court here reversed lower court judges that some of us had criticized for usurping what are largely executive orders. What's particularly telling in the case involving the border is that the Biden administration had lifted a policy called metering that was put into place by the Obama administration. That's how far the Biden people went in trying to facilitate people entering the country. That policy was then reinstated and expanded by the Trump administration. And the issue here is, are you really in the United States if you're not? If you're on the other side of the border? And the dissent really comes across as almost Clinton-esque, as saying, well, it depends what the meaning of in is.
Oh, boy.
And, you don't have to be actually in to be in the country.
The definition of is, and in this case, the definition of what in the country means. And clearly, many liberals were very upset by this decision. I want to play, this is Cut 62. And this is Zoran Mondani on Cut 62. He came out late today, and he responded because he is not happy with his decision. He wants those temporary protective status folks who clearly would probably vote Democrat. He would like them all to stay in the country. This is Cut 62.
Burroughs. I think first and foremost, I want to say thank you for coming back to talk with the people. Now, today, as you know, there's a lot on our minds. The thing that comes right to the front of it for me is empathy and solidarity with Haitian and Syrian New Yorkers. We saw today the Supreme Court make a decision that is putting so many people's lives in jeopardy. And I just came back from a rally with 1199 as I stood alongside a number of Haitian New Yorkers who are concerned about what this means for their status in our city. And frankly, this city, the one that we love, is one that has been built by so many from so many different parts of the world. And that includes our Haitian brothers and sisters, our Syrian brothers and sisters. And we stand here ready to be in solidarity with all of those who are concerned by today's decision. And beyond just language of solidarity, actions of solidarity. Now, what that means when it comes to our city is if you are worried about what this means for your status, if you're worried about what this means for your family, I would encourage you to call our Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs hotline. And you can do so at 1-800-354-0365. Again, that's 1-800-354-0365. Now, many of you know,
now that we got his number, we're ready. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Joaquin in Pennsylvania, line 1. Go ahead, Joaquin, your thoughts tonight.
Good evening, Rita. We've allowed this to happen, and unfortunately, we might as well call it for what it is. It is a Western civilization genocide that is going on here, okay? A white genocide that's happening, and it was, this has been brought to us. All these people, Mondani should have never been allowed into this country, Rashida Tlaib, and all these kind of people, and I really want to point something else out, when you say that, I'm sorry, not you, but when people say that there actually is no, that it's not a war against Islam or anything like that. Do you know that the Pilgrims actually, there was a pilgrim ship attacked and captured by the Muslims?
Wow.
It goes that far back.
That is interesting. I did not know that. I'm going to look that up. That's very interesting.
Yeah. I don't have the exact information in front of me, but what happened is that there was a ship, the man was contracted that he was going to bring back pelts or whatever, anything from the New World. And so the person he had a contract with gave him this ship to use. And it was kind of small, but after 5 years of being there, there was a bigger ship, and that captain said that he would put everything on his ship. And he said, no, he goes, I have a contract with this man in England. So they loaded the smaller boat, and they had great sailing. They sailed across the ocean. They went into the English Channel, and then of course the one ship separated from the other one, and they were attacked by Muslim pirates, captured and dragged off to North Africa. Okay, so we've been fed nothing but lies. And when I say that it's a white genocide, and when I say America's on a chopping block, back when we had assimilation, and it's not necessarily just a white thing, because we have a shared culture with black people that were brought here as slaves, and that's still a big lie because slavery went on all over the place. They were enslaved by their own people as it stands. So we've been sold this bill of goods through education, and everybody's accepting it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Joaquin, you bring up sort of the fact that Chevalier and some of these others who won this week, the DSA candidates, they won by young, pretty much white women. That was sort of like the big group that came out for them. I mean, clearly they don't know their education and they don't understand the threat that these people are under. I mean, are they so indoctrinated that they've lost it, that they don't know their history?
I don't know because, I've watched the video and I see things on social media, and there was that one video that went around of somebody that was captured on October 7th and was in the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah, it was that woman. That woman, I believe.
This person, I couldn't tell for sure if it was a man or a woman. It kind of almost looked like a man because there were many people that were dragged away.
Yeah, sadly there were.
They were driven through crowds of people, beaten, and the horror. I can't imagine what that person went through. And so now everybody's sitting here and standing by idly saying that, there's the genocide in Palestine. No. That's the biggest load of, I'm not going to curse.
Yeah,
but
don't say it, but
BS that there is.
It is. And the problem is, Joaquin, is that these people say it so right off the tongue of, their tongue. It's so easy for them. Chevalier, by the way, led a lot of the protests at Columbia. And she led the screaming, shouting protest that took place right after October 7th on October 8th, bashing Israel, not condemning Hamas, not condemning the Palestinians who were engaged in that. Nope. She bashed Israel. Israel was brutalized, raped, murdered. Not just Israelis, by the way. There were Americans, too. And yet, that's the response from these loonies. It's a big concern. Joaquin, thank you very much. Really interesting. 1-800-848-9222. And everybody will continue right after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
33 days, 33 episodes. Join me, Max Rushton, and our expert team of soccer journalists every day of the World Cup for analysis, drama, and everything in between. World Cup Daily. Listen on Spotify now or watch full episodes on YouTube.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Sustain Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Sustain Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
Choice Hotels gets you more of what you value. Here's a little tune to help you remember. Same drive, different day. Don't you wish you were getting away? Pack your bags and come on through. Texas, Ohio, Alaska, we're up there too. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Well, I hope you like my little song. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Want to elevate your travel experience? Here's how. With a Delta SkyMiles Reserve American Express card, you can relax before your flight in the Delta Sky Club with up to 15 visits per medallion year. And now through July 15th, 2026, you can earn up to 125,000 bonus miles, so you're closer to your next adventure. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve card. Check out the new design at www.delta.com/Spotify. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply.
It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's go to your calls, guys. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Robert in Brooklyn. Line 2. Go ahead, Robert.
Hi, Rita. Thanks for taking my call. Well, first of all, I just want to congratulate you. I didn't get a chance to before on getting a Gracie Award again. So congratulations on the Gracie Award.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you. It's my 11th. So it's lucky 11. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. They always mean so much.
Now, in terms of the issue about the immigration taking place in Europe and the increase in rapes, people might be interested in watching a movie, Citizen Vigilante. And they ended the movie by saying, quote, this film is dedicated to the thousands of rape and murdered victims in Europe who were betrayed by our legal system, unquote. Now,
hey, Robert, do me a favor. We're going to go to a break because we got a hard break here. I'll pick you up after our Back the Blue, which, we do every night. And I'll give you a few seconds so we can get to the point afterwards. But obviously it's an important message because, boy, we're in trouble here.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's 1938. The 2-week pay period is invented. But then the world got faster. Faster travel, faster delivery, faster everything. Except our pay. Until now, with daily pay, everyone can access money they've earned when they need it. Yes, this is the future of pay. Daily pay. Work with the leader in on-demand pay at dailypay.com. Transfer fee may apply.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Rita Cosby is on. The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from Phoenix, Arizona, where a split-second decision by police officers helped save 2 residents as flames consumed their property. The fire broke out just after 9 o'clock, and after officers arrived, they found a vehicle fully engulfed in flames, with the fire very quickly spreading to a nearby RV, nearby brush, and portions of a home. So smoke was filling that home as officers decided to search inside that home to find a woman. Outside explosions and popping sounds could be heard as the fire continued to grow very, very quickly. The officers were thankfully able to locate her and another resident, and they were able to escape safely just with a little bit of smoke inhalation, but expected to make a full recovery. And although the homeowners lost most of their belongings in the fire, the officers said lives remained the top priority. One of the officers said property can be replaced, but a human life can't. And that's what our main priority was, which was to locate the people inside of the home and get them out to safety. And thank goodness they were there just in the nick of time. Well, we are talking about Democratic Socialists taking over the Democratic Party. No longer is it just Democrat, it's Democratic Socialists. And that will be on the agenda in November. And can you imagine, as we're talking about this Supreme Court decision, there's 2 of them today that very much were in favor of President Trump and his strict border national security policies. His view that America is a powerful sovereign country and you got to protect it. And meantime, these Supreme Court decisions really came down pretty tough on those who say we should have wide open borders. One of them, again, with the temporary protective status, hundreds of thousands of Syrians and Haitians. The TPS program, by the way, was set up. It's around 1990. And it went into effect. Joe Biden turbocharged it. He quadrupled it under him. He was giving out temporary protective status, saying, oh, I guess something's going on in your country. Yeah, come here. No problem. Oh, next group, next. All with an effort, many people believe, to increase votes. That was the bottom line. And yet they won't do voter ID. Democrats won't do the SAVE Act. They're still fighting that. God forbid we have voter ID in this country. Let's go back to Robert on line 2. Go ahead, Robert, your thoughts tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Rita. Well, actually, some of the Republicans also don't want to do the Save America Act. But anyway, in terms of the extreme Democrat socialists, apparently about 54 to 67% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And 54 to 67% of Americans paycheck to paycheck, that leads to an environment that's conducive to this type of extremist, extremism. Now, the term genocide, if you Google it, it says it's the course.
Now, explain what you mean by that. Why? Because they're financially dependent on services? Is that where you're going?
Well, look. If you have a situation where you have a handful of people like John Catsimatidis, who's a billionaire in real estate and oil and everything else, you have Elon Musk, who's a trillionaire, and then you have everybody else who's slaving paycheck to paycheck, people are going to resent barely getting to get by. People can't afford to have families, so that presents resentment. And
wait a minute. Wait. No, Robert. I'm not going to let you get away with that. You're trying to what? Slam John and Elon Musk, who have created probably more jobs than, the state of New York? I mean, that's preposterous. No. Actually, it is, Robert. That's a preposterous statement. Is that what you resent people who hire people so nobody should be successful so they can't hire anybody?
I'm not saying that, Rita. What I'm saying is that the middle class is shrinking. Years ago, in the 50s, there was a much stronger middle class. Now it's everything.
You just said, Robert, that John Catsimatidis, who owns Red Apple Audio Network, of which, of course, this show is syndicated on, based out of 77 WABC, that he and Elon Musk, they have all this money and basically nobody else gets any of it. That's a ridiculous statement. Because Rita, those people hire people. Do you understand Economics 101, Robert? Those are the kind of people who hire an enormous amount of people. They give an enormous amount of money to charity. They invent, they create, they build jobs. And a lot of people wouldn't have jobs unless, look at all the money that, even Elon Musk, he became a trillionaire. Do you think he takes it all home? He doesn't have anybody work for him? That's ridiculous.
Well, Rita, I was not trying to focus on those two people. I'm sure
But you did. And by the way, it doesn't matter who. That's a naive statement by you. It's a very naive statement. You're a very educated guy, and it's a naive statement because people are wealthy, it creates what? Animosity? Those are the people who hire. I mean, if somebody's making all this money and they're not giving it back and hiring people or whatever, that's a different scenario. But people who are wealthy are the ones who are creating jobs, just like Ken Griffin. When Mondani drove out Ken Griffin from doing his projects in New York, it was devastating. Not necessarily just for Ken Griffin. He can go anywhere. He has a lot of money. But what it was devastating to is that he's stopping his projects here because he doesn't feel like New York is a palatable place for business right now, and doesn't like his apartment, his home, being called out and put all over Mondani's video. So, but what, you would vilify Ken Griffin in that case, and that's not appropriate.
All right, Rita, let me correct my statement. I did not mean, look, God bless people like Elon Musk and John Catsimatidis. They do a tremendous amount of kind things in this world. I didn't mean it that way. I was just trying to bring out that a lot of people are barely getting by. And the people who are barely getting by, for them, the American dream seems more and more remote. In the 1950s, you had a larger middle class. That's all I was trying to say. And
I agree with that, but you don't need to vilify people who are hiring those people.
If I gave a misimpression, I retract that. I apologize. I didn't mean to say what made
Apology accepted. Go ahead.
And now, in terms of genocide, according to Google, if you're getting a definition, it says the deliberate and systematic destruction of national, ethnic, racial, or religious group is entirely or in part, unquote. Israel never did anything of the sort. The population in the areas, the Palestinian population, increased even greater than the Israeli population. If some civilians got killed, well, during World War II, when we had a war, civilians get killed, especially when the terrorists hide among the civilians. Israel bent over backwards more than anyone to avoid hitting civilians.
I agree.
The big lie of and the other big point is Trump, he says he wants to give the F-35 plane to Turkey, which is run by Erdogan, who hates Israel. He also is in bed with the Russians. He has the Russian missile system. And I'll tell you something. I am so disgusted with President Trump giving hundreds of billions of dollars to Iran, saying that it's okay for them to have ballistic missiles, and now he's talking about giving the F-35 to Turkey. I say both President Trump and Vice President Vance, they both should be impeached and removed from office for high crimes and misdemeanors.
Now, Robert, obviously you're off your rocker on a lot of this. You have to agree that President Trump has done more for Israel and more for freedom in the Middle East and the world than any other president. I mean, look what he's done by going in there. I'm not happy that he's allowing them to have access to low-grade missiles. I agree with you. And I don't even like them getting money for oil because they're able to do that right now during this 60-day window if they show good faith. Then they're allowed to sell oil on the market, not on the black market, but out there in the public. And I don't like them getting a dime because then they can kind of use it wherever they want to use it. I don't like it. President Trump is doing that, obviously, in hopes that it reaches a deal. Clearly, if they violate it, he's going to go in and pummel them. And I actually think he probably will end up having to go in and pummel them again at some point because I have no faith in the Iranians. I have a lot of faith in President Trump. But for you to say that he should be impeached, they were making so much money before this. He definitely decimated their military, decimated their economy, and he's put them back. And the nuclear program, he's put it all back decades. And yet, you know, you're not even going to give him credit for that. You want to say he should be impeached? I mean, that's a preposterous statement. You really are drinking some Kool-Aid tonight, Robert, but go ahead.
Well, Rita, I'll say something. You know, during the 12-day war, in the initial phase, when Israel initially attacked Iran, you know, Israel was doing a masterful job. And the thing was that the one thing Israel couldn't do is they needed those B-2 bombers to finish off that target because they couldn't penetrate it. I give President Trump for that. But then President Trump made a statement that Israel and Iran, they don't know what the F they're doing, and he pulled Israel back, and he's pulled them back. Then he waited, he restarted the operation jointly with Israel, and then he took control of the operation, and then he negotiated.
We know that, Robert. We know all that, and he's doing it to try to reach a peace deal. Come on, get to the point.
Rita, but the point was that he took control. It was Israel's initiative, and he took it over, and he has this horrible deal to give these terrorists, these fanatical terrorists, to give them hundreds of millions of dollars and to allow them to have ballistic missiles and to allow Turkey to have the F-35. This is the biggest Benedict Arnold ever.
Well, hang on, Robert, that's a ridiculous claim. First of all, the F-35s, if you know anything about the history about it, he was talking to Erdogan about that like a year or two ago in the White House. So to me, I again don't really feel like Erdogan should get that F-35. There are reports that Erdogan was apparently going to help Iran and President Trump convinced him not to because he does have a good relationship with some unsavory characters like him and Putin and North Korea. I say that in a good way because he can pick up the phone and talk to them. So, but I agree with you on a number of fronts. You know, I'm not happy that Iran is getting any money, that they're even able to sell oil right now. I actually think he should have finished the job and pummeled them, and really, really got them to submit. The problem is they are fanatics. And at what point would they ever submit? I'm not sure. They are diehards and they're zealots. And you and I both knew that from the beginning. But to sit there and say he's a Benedict Arnold, I mean, that's just a preposterous statement. And there's no proof of that. If anybody, he's been the best friend that Israel has ever had. Yes, he's telling them to wait right now because he's trying to get a deal. He's trying to give Iran the benefit of the doubt. But I don't think he's going to give them the benefit of the doubt much longer. If they mess up, they are done. And you know President Trump will darn well do it. He has the military sitting right there. You know it. You know it. And for you to say he's a Benedict Arnold, that is not an appropriate context of history, Robert. And you know it, and I know it. But we'll talk soon. Let's go to Alice in Ohio, line 4. Wow, Alice, go ahead.
Hi, Rita. Thanks for taking my call. the best thing you can say about the people who won these elections is that at least they're honest about what they want to do to us, not for us, to us. They're against the way our government is run. Anyway, they're going to be sworn in to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. And everything they're saying does not end up doing that. And some of the things they're saying are treasonous. Is there any way they can be challenged to take that office?
You know what? It's a hard thing to do at this point, especially being American citizens. And that's a hard case. It's a very, very hard case. I mean, there are a lot of people who are bringing that up with Mondani, and there's nothing they could do at that point. I think it's a very remote chance and a very unrealistic chance. The problem is they have been now elected. They've gone through the process, and maybe you could say, okay, I'm not going to seat them. I mean, you could make the case if there ever was one. I'm not even necessarily, I mean, I don't like, is it Chevalier who came out and said that she wiped her hands with the American flag? Yes. I mean, yes. I mean, that's just disgusting. Yeah. I mean, yes. It's gross. But then the one case where there may be more grounds than other, believe it or not, is the case of Homaway in New Jersey. Adam Homaway in New Jersey. That guy was, remember, a character witness for the Blind Sheikh, who was the mastermind of the 1993 bombing on America. I mean, it almost doesn't get any worse than that. And he was a voluntary character witness for the Blind Sheikh for that 1993 bombing. So, I mean, that maybe you could say, okay, it's clearly an act against America. He was obviously supportive of this guy. Is he, quote, supporting terrorism? He claims, I just was supporting the guy. I didn't really know him. But then it came out he was in the car while he was talking about jihad left and right. I'd say that's a pretty good sign. But I almost feel like if there's ever a case, it's that. But I think we should have a better litmus test, to your point. I think we actually should. I think somebody who wipes their hands with the American flag should never be elected to office in America. If they want to run for mayor of Gaza, they can do it. Just don't run for anything in America. What do you think, Alice? The problem is I'm saying that from my heart, but not meaning it can never be done.
I wish that in preparation for their swearing in, I wish someone would research this. Why is this allowed? Why is this allowed? This is scary. I am so scared.
And guess what? I don't think they're going to put their hand on the Bible. You know where I'm going. They're going to put their hand on the Quran, just like Mondani did.
At least we know what to expect from them. So maybe we can protect ourselves to prepare in advance. But these people are evil. They're evil.
I agree. It's really dangerous. And that's why we all have to wake up. Americans all have to wake up. It's not just a Democrat problem. It's an American problem. And these people, I agree with you. I think their intent, they're telegraphing who they are. They're saying it. And we better believe them. Mondani was telegraphing, and he's carrying it out. He didn't march in the Israel Day parade. He's clearly anti-Israel. That's the nicest thing I can say about him. 1-800-848-9222. And everybody, we will continue when we come back here on The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is The Rita Cosby Show.
And let's continue with your calls, guys. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Pete in Pennsylvania, line 3. Go ahead, Pete. Your thoughts tonight.
Yeah, so I'm not really confused with all of Congress and how this process works. So the first thing I have to say about this is that I think that Congress has been a country club, and it's not a two-party. You know, we always talk two parties. Oh, we got Democrats, we got Republicans, but we don't. We just have really one party rule. At this point, it's a crazy time to think that all of a sudden there's a new party coming out. Whether you like them or not, and I don't like them, and I'm sure you don't like them, but this new party that's coming out is like a third party, right? Or a second party, if you want to.
Yeah, it is. The problem is, and there are some Democrats, Pete, that are saying that they should be their own party, that the Democratic Socialist Party should be their own party, that they really don't belong in mainstream Democrats. And I agree. But the problem is they want to be part of the Democrats because they want to take over the infrastructure of the Democrats. And they want to be able to have one of their own elected. You know, sometimes a new party takes a while to take hold. And if you're part of the Democratic Party, you get a lot of the proceeds, you get the connections, you get the stature of it all. And if they can rule the roost and get to the point where, you know, Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer and all these other people are, bending over backwards to please them, which they sure seem like they are because they're afraid to criticize them, then they're sitting pretty. And that's why it's also really dangerous. But your point is a good one, that they don't seem like they belong. And I think it's pretty obvious to the Democrats, but most of them won't say that. Let's go to Mike on the Lower East Side, line 2. Go ahead, Mike, your thoughts.
How you doing, Rita? Yeah, the three original countries that were a coalition with one another was Israel, Cyprus, and Egypt. Okay, this is before the U.S. got involved in anything. These three countries got together to defend one another. All right, so now all of a sudden, Trump is trying to save the regime, and Trump is trying to play footsie with Turkey. Now, Turkey killed 13 of my relatives. They took my grandparents home, and they brought in Turks to occupy the homes of the innocent people that they murdered.
So Mike, and obviously that's really a big deal. You obviously don't believe they should get any weapons, right?
But I also want to say one other thing.
Mike, we got to go to a break. Mike, you got to get to the point next time, but I love you. But I heard what you said, and it's horrible what happened to your own family. Big concerns about Turkey.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?